Good afternoon. Today I'm going to show you how to accomplish more than one task with one cut. Technically two cuts, but it's two cuts on one board to accomplish three things. Instead of using a dado blade on your table saw or a straight cutting bit on your router, manufacture the cuts that you want into the piece that you're building. It's a lot easier. You don't always have to run for the chisel or the saw or the table saw or the router or the bandsaw. Think about what it is that you want and build it into your design. I design as I go. I design as I build. I'll sketch some sketches out once in a while if I'm trying to figure out how I want something to be specific. You know, if I see patterns in the wood that I want to use, I'll take the time to sketch that out and see what it is that I can do with it. But most of the time I just grab a piece and go. Now this is a bench top leg, okay? You can see the rails are in, or the rail is in. It's pegged with wood pegs. I made the red oak pegs by hand. I think you've seen that video already. It's fully tenoned, and it's a through tenon. This tenon that's sticking out here, this is going to get hidden by another piece of wood. But we're not ready for that step yet. At least I'm not ready for that step. What I want here is, I want a dado just above the foot, just above this piece on the foot of the leg. Okay, so later on I can put maybe a bottom shelf in the bench. Up here I'm building a tenon. I'm manufacturing a tenon. This is the tenon, this 4-inch section. This is going to come up through the tabletop. It's going to have wedges cut into it, and then I'm going to put bamboo wedges in the top of this face of this leg. This is what you're going to see on the top of the bench. And I'll hammer in 2 bamboo wedges, and it'll be a nice contrast between the poplar, the end grain of the poplar, and the bamboo wedges. It'll look nice. So instead of cutting a tenon with a saw and chisels and all of that, I'm going to manufacture it. And this is how you manufacture it. You just take a smaller piece of wood, a bigger piece of wood, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Find out how deep you want your tenon and glue a new board to the edge of it, to the side of it. I did the same thing on the other side. For the dado cut, I did the same thing. Now in order to get that, all you do is take a piece of wood that you're going to be using under there for that dado. This is a 3/4 inch piece of bamboo plywood. You put this against that cleat, or whatever you want to call it, and you make it flush. Now you take a board like this one, which is ready for the saw, and good idea to mark your pieces. This is B. So you slide this board to the end of the bamboo, right? Good idea to slide it and leave yourself about 1 inch over here, so that when you get that nice and tight, you check it. You make sure that it's still snug in here. Don't want any gaps. And then you're going to take this board and you're going to stand it on edge and butt it up against there. Check it again. And now you make a line on that 4-inch tenon mark. Okay? Then you're done. Then you take your square, and you grab that pencil line that you made, and you make it nice and square, and then you draw a line all the way across. Okay? That this is the cut you're going to make on the table saw. You're done with this. Take this over to the table saw. I've already done it to the other side. So what you see here is A. This piece is A. B, this piece is B. So the only scrap I'm going to have out of this step is this little 3/4 inch section right here. Whatever this is, it doesn't matter. But these check marks indicate where I want to put the saw blade. Okay? That's it. Now I've already done that to this leg. That's how you get this dado. This dado joint, or this cut, is already done. I don't have to cut anything. I don't have to put it in the saw. Got plenty of room on this cleat for a shelf. But it's for future use for later on. And my tenon is 75% done. I haven't decided if I'm going to put a piece here or not. I'm thinking no, because I don't think it's going to look good with my rail. But I could do something. We'll see. And all I need is another piece of wood. Now this next piece is going to go from here to here. And I'll cut a mortise in it to hide the through tenon. It's going to come all the way down, and it's going to stop in the same spot right here. Now I'll have a dado all the way around my leg. Except for this side. Now this side, I could very easily take another piece and put it here, and then take a separate piece and go up to the rail so that I do have my dado. But either way, you have 3 sides to do something with. You can add a cabinet later, and you already have a manufactured place to put a board. And you accomplish that simply by making 2 cuts on the cross-cut sled. 1, 1, and 2. That's it. I may have over-explained it, and it really is pretty simple, but just picture this thing getting boards stacked on top of boards. You know, I can do this again. I can do this again and put something similar to this cleat here, and then add another board here, and I'll have another set of dados across on each leg higher up. So if I decide to add more, I can have shelves and cabinets half constructed with minimal cutting. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. I picked these pieces because they got nice grain going through there. Probably going to end up facing one side of this with a big piece of a big piece of bamboo. The reason I picked bamboo is because it's a light colored wood on top of another light colored wood. Poplar is light, bamboo is heavy. So the bamboo is going to give this thing its weight that you need for a bench so that it's not vibrating like crazy when you bang on it. That's why my Moxon Vise is made out of poplar and bamboo. I like the light colored look. I've got special cuts in here. It's all ready to go on top of the bench. So this process takes a little longer, okay? It took a good couple of days just to get these 2 boards put on. You know, you glue it up, you clamp it, and then you got to wait. That's how it goes. And you really don't want to try to do too much at once because your focus should be on the glue up that you're working on. I put a lot of clamps on here, and they got a nice bond. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this already or not, but when you're doing a glue up, take some of the hardwood sawdust and shavings from the bandsaw and sprinkle that in there. You don't want the big chunky stuff. You want the light, fine stuff. So even if you shake this around and get the fine stuff on the bottom, and then get some of that out of there, you can even go to the bandsaw. There's a bunch of it just sitting on the bandsaw right here. See it? This stuff is perfect for glue ups. Somebody's out there telling people to put salt in their glue up. Salt is corrosive. I don't recommend putting that in your glue up in your wood. I think that's a horrible suggestion. But if you take the dust from the very material you're working with and put it in there, it does keep it from sliding around. So give it a try, you might like it. The second board I did on here, I used the sawdust. I'm pretty impressed. So that's it. I've got a dado, a half tenon and a half tenon with 2 cuts on a table saw. That's a lot of work that you don't have to do. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any suggestions or you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll try to answer them. And I'll take any suggestions that any of you have. I'm always open to new ideas. So that's it. Hope that wasn't too boring. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Work safe. One more tip before I let you go. When you're going to make a precise cut like that, and you're manufacturing your parts and your cuts and your dados and all that, your tenons, when you're manufacturing, when you get this mark on the face, you're going to want to transfer those marks accurately to this side, because when you put this down on your crosscut sled, you don't have any reference to the blade. And believe it or not, trying to eyeball this line with your blade from up here, too much room for error. And if you don't get the cut perfect, it's not going to work. That's key to manufacturing this stuff. You have to transfer that mark, which I did here. And now when you put this thing in the saw, you can run your sled right up to the teeth of the blade, and now you can see that you're not lined up yet. And you're going to want to get this cut right there. Perfect. This one's going to be to the right of the line, and this one's going to be to the left. You have to pay attention to what piece you're keeping and what piece you're removing. So, don't make that mistake, because you'll be frustrated when your pieces don't fit. Okay, this is precision. You have to take your time and get it right. Okay?